Welcome to a brand new episode of On VJ's Playlist. And today I'm joined by duo of the moment, Second Side, featuring Pushkar Srivatsal and Anusha Ramsubramani. Welcome, guys. We have finally made this happen after all the weeks of deliberating. And I'm so happy that you guys have finally given me the time today. Welcome to On VJ's Playlist.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. And also thank you for coming for our gig. It was so nice to see you there and to make this happen.
I mean, in all honesty, I started listening to you guys only when Coral released, but I was looking at your journey so far. So firstly, for many of your newfound fans, including myself, who would want to know about your journey firstly, how did Pushkar and Anusha meet? And before you guys met, do you want to acquaint us to your early influences or your early introduction into the world of music? Let's begin with you, Anusha.
Yeah, so actually, I've pretty much been into music since I was in school. I used to always sing and play the guitar. And in college, I got introduced to a cappella. So we used to always do all the possible competitions. So I used to try to sing in everything possible. And I realized that I really enjoyed doing a cappella, specifically arranging music, being on stage, performing with a bunch of people. I, at that point though, never really thought that I would get into music professionally. More in the sense of, I felt like one would have to compromise or do things they wouldn't want to, which is the truth. But it stopped me at that time. And I also thought, English music and all, who will listen and how it will work and all. So I never thought that I would get into music at that time. So I was just doing a lot of random things afterwards. But there came a point where I decided, okay, I really do miss performing and I really do miss doing music, and why not try it out? Let's, give it an attempt and see how it goes. And then I chose to go to music school, which is Swarnabhumi Academy of Music, which is close to Pondicherry, and that's where I met.
What is the name of this place?
Swarnabhumi Academy of Music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Swarnabhumi.
Yeah.
So I went because which is interesting. You went to sorry to cut you there. It's interesting you went to an Indian school because you see a lot of these young musicians today who feel that nothing less than Berkeley would do. Whereas you have avenues right closer to your home, right?
Yeah. For me, I never even considered going abroad to study music because the cost of it was a big factor. Yeah. I thought that, this would be the best. And also, I had heard actually really good things about the school from a friend who said that they'd had a really great experience there. So I was instantly, convinced, okay, this is the place I need to go.
Right.
Yeah. Pushkar? What about you?
Yeah, I mean, similar to, I mean, I like my family is like very musical. I grew up and my parents, I mean, they're not professional musicians, but both my parents would sing and, or like, you have these events and cultural events where, people put up like performances within the society and stuff. So parents would like always be involved, and they would involve us as well. So from an early age, I was playing harmonium and Casio and stuff like that. But like I wasn't really seriously interested in music until like 11th or 12th grade is when I started to play the guitar. My sister got a guitar, and then I'm like, whenever she wasn't using it, I started like teach myself a little bit. And after that, when I went to college is where I like met like the friends, like very close friends of mine now, who like really inspired me to like play music and kind of play. We formed a band together eventually in college, and we played like these college competitions, blah blah blah, whatever. And I mean that really got me interested in like the whole aspect of writing and performing and kind of playing in a band, etc. And after that also, I mean, after I graduated from my engineering, I'm a chemical engineer by degree. So after I graduated from college, I was working in Bangalore for a couple of years in a corporate job. But like, again, the friends who I made in college who were like big influences on me as well. We all moved together in Bangalore. And then we were like doing a lot of trying to write music for that band while juggling our jobs, which wasn't happening for me. I wasn't being able to give it much time as well. But I did realize that this is something I want to try to pursue. So again, that's what led me to like then go to like quit the job, go to Sam, Swarnabhumi, and which is where we met. And then we started writing. After that, I was already trying to write some music before. So it was great to like then meet like-minded people. Like she and I realized that we have very similar influences right from the get-go, at least at the time. So then we were like, let's try to write. That's how we kind of hit it off.
Yeah, I think we were also fortunate to have parents who supported us.
Yeah,
who were like
obviously.
Absolutely, at least for me, my dad was like, why are you even worrying about the money? Just, do what you want, which is great. Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting to learn, Anushka, because I was talking to, in my earlier interview with Mahesh also. I think this is something I know I can ask you also, because like you said, music was not something that occurred to you instantly. It was not something that you were considering to make a career out of. That's largely because as South Indian kids, it's constantly bred into our ecosystem that, music is something which is good. It's a good additional talent to have. It's not something where, our instant surrounding does not really encourage us to pursue it as a career. So somewhere even Mahesh also said that, when he made that decision to, make music full time, it was not met with an instantly encouraging gaze. So of course, when you broke it out to your family that you wanted to do music full time, and you've studied music, and how did they, receive your initial decision about when you broke it to them that you wanted to make music?
Yeah, my parents have always been extremely supportive. There's never been any sort of questioning from their side, which I've been really, really fortunate to have actually. So because also they saw me do so much music in college and even before that in school, they knew that it's something that I loved doing. And when I told my dad, I think so, at least with my dad, it's interesting because I feel like he missed out on doing things he wanted because he had to get a traditional job to make money for the family. So I think because of that, he's always been like, don't worry, you don't have the issues that I had, which was making a lot of money immediately for the family. So you don't worry about it, you need to do what you want. So yeah, they've been extremely supportive from the get-go for me, which is not common, like you said, not just South Indian families, I would say. In general, in India, people don't really understand this idea of music and all.
Yeah.
How will you make money? And
and English also.
Why don't you get a job?
And especially in English, because in a country like India, where performing, speaking in your own immediate mother tongue is of such immense importance. Pushkar, do you also want to add on to how did your parents initially receive your decision of wanting to make music?
I was already kind of hinting at it since my college days. At least with my dad. My dad is like, yeah, do whatever you want, basically. Like, if you're good at it, like, basically do it, but like, also don't screw it up. Like, be responsible. Like, if you want to do something. And I was already hinting at it, and like, even in school. So I was in Delhi at the time when I was doing my 11th and 12th. And I think, obviously you must have heard of Takkar Nabam.
Of course. Yeah.
Who was this amazing singer-songwriter, guitar player. So he was my batchmate in school. And he was going to Sam after that. I didn't know him very well, but I did know him. Like, we used to hang out and he used to be playing guitar all the time. Like, what is this guy doing? How is he doing what he's doing? So I was already like inspired by these guys, like, because they were taking these jumps. He was the first one who I knew who'd gone to Sam, like somebody that I, who was like a friend. And then even other people from my college, I was in Goa for engineering, BITS Goa. So a couple of other students, like my seniors also went to Sam. So I was already kind of hinting at my parents, like, see, this is something I would like to do at some point. So they were like, fine. So when I decided to quit the job, it was getting like, I was like completely fried, and they understood that as well. So they were like, yeah, why don't you like go and try and see what happens? And yeah, like my dad was like pretty chill with it from the beginning. Yeah.
So when both of you met, eventually, as fate would have had it, What convinced you guys that, the Western school of music, especially your varied influences, there's jazz, there is a cappella, there's a bit of rhythm and blues, and somewhere a bit of hip hop also fused into your narrative. Um, at what juncture were you guys convinced that this was the sound that, that would define what Second Sight would be? This would be your identity.
I think I don't think we ever ever was a moment where we sat down and kind of decided on what kind of a sound we want. But we both firmly believe in the fact that what you produce is, an amalgamation of everything that you enjoy listening to, and we both incidentally enjoy listening to a lot of the same music. Of course, we also don't match in many ways, but when we met initially, our first couple of conversations was so cool because we would just talk about the artists we like, and the other person would like, really, oh my god, I really like that artist as well. So I think that really helped, right? So we spoke about Hiatus Coyote, we spoke about the Civil Wars, we spoke about
and also like this like Brazilian music and
Brazilian
stuff,
music. Yeah. So I think basically we just kept making music, and I think I would say that over the years it's come to a point where now we feel like, okay, yeah, this is the kind. I mean, this is
I wouldn't even say that we feel like there's a particular sound. I think just like to keep exploring different things, and I mean what gets made as the end result is what it is. I mean there's not really a lot of like deliberation as to like, okay, now we're going to make, this is the kind of song we're going to make now. It's just like, hey, this is something I came up with, we want to work on it, let's see how it goes and stuff like that. It's always been like that, and I think that's, at least for us, that works, rather than like if we try and like sit and deliberate like we're going to make this kind of song, then we never really end up making it. It goes somewhere else and it becomes something else. Yeah.
I was reading a very interesting anecdote from one of your interviews for Rolling Stone India, where Pushkar, I believe you said that both of you believe in a process where you all actually sit together and actually collaborate, where both of you are writing the songs, and it reflects in the various and diverse themes that each of your songs actually explore. But Choral, I believe it was, in the process of being made when the pandemic happened. So with all the prohibitions and all the restrictions that were in place, how did you both still ensure that your synergies were in place, the collaborations happened? Of course, Zoom would have been of a lot of help, but I believe you rely so much on being physically present with each other and writing the songs together. So how much of back and forth happened? How did you all still ensure that things came into place and eventually we received such a wonderful album in Choral?
So to be honest, with the album Choral, a lot of the songs on the album were already written.
Yeah.
Okay.
That album basically kind of contains songs that, like the Spanish song that's there and this other song called Making Me Better. Those two songs were written in the first semester of SAM. So it's like end of 2015.
Okay.
But it's just that we've been playing these songs live for a while, like in and around the country. It's just that we didn't have maybe the funds or the know-how at the time, like say at 2017, 2018, 2019, to like really put this, we were still struggling to like kind of see like how we're going to make this band album thing happen. But so I think there was only like, I think Helpless was the only song that was written in the pandemic for the album. The one that features Ranj.
Yeah, I think basically all we had to do was just get to recording.
Yeah.
The songs were already there, and that's something that we we kind of find ourselves like talking about often. It's just that, okay, now we really need to write new music, because even though Choral came out last year and people kind of heard this music for the first time, we've actually been performing it for a long time for people who've been coming to the shows, So all we had to do was kind of make decisions on the recording and the production of it, which was actually, so Pushkar, we both decided, because it was a pandemic and we kind of didn't want to spend too much. Obviously,
we didn't have also at the time, because there's no shows, right? So there's like, it's not, that there's going to be like no income, like at least for the band, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, we'll have to do it kind of in a way where we can do it within our means, at least as much as possible. We had some money saved for the band. With some of the previous shows we must have done in 2019 or something. So we decided that maybe it's time for us to kind of like do this on our own. And we were lucky at the time also because our drummer Jigar, who's on the album, he has a studio at home where he has his whole drum setup where he can record. And that in general is the toughest thing basically that you require a studio for. So the fact that he had the ability to record drums from home, it really changed the game for us as well. So we were like, then we were able to do everything remotely.
Yeah, this was a true pandemic album.
Because we were recording only obviously the vocals were done in a studio when like the first Dim Lights was done in a jam room because no studio was open. So we used to just go to Delta with our mic and everything and just set up all the laptop, everything and just record and use that. And the rest of it, as like while we were working on it, like studios started opening up, and there was a small studio that would open up close to where I stayed. And then only the vocals were done there. Rest of it was done from home. Ralph recorded from home, Jigga recorded from home. I recorded everything, all the guitars and everything from home. And even our keyboard player, who was in Kerala at the time, throughout was still in Kerala, he recorded all the keys parts from home. So everything was kind of, they would record their parts and send it to me, and then I would get to mixing it. And that's how we did it basically.
But why I ask Pushkar is also because you've mentioned that, you do not like yourself to be like many of the bands out there who have a bank of 40, 50 songs ready, but prefer to only pick out the best 10 or 15 of them and then, release them. Do you want to elaborate on that?
I think basically, first of all, we spend so much time in finishing one song, and probably it takes us so much time because we want it to be the best possible it can be. So there's no point where we're like, I don't understand this concept of like, let's choose the best of a collection of songs, because all of them will always feel like they're your favorite when you're writing it, right? So it takes us a really long time to write songs, and we're not very prolific in terms of output.
It's that.
So
I mean, we would love to have 40 songs and choose like the best 10 or something, but we don't have the ability to write so many. I think we just take a lot of time. So in our case, what happens is that if we end up finishing a song, then it's going to be like in our live set, or it's going to be recorded. Like if we are not truly like kind of feeling the song, then we never end up finishing it. There's like sort of like bunch of half written songs just lying, and I don't think maybe we'll go back to them. I don't know if we'll go back to them. So if we end up finishing something, then that means that we deem that song to be worthy. I don't know.
Performance worthy, album worthy.
So that we can put on and be like, okay, here's something which we really truly believe in. If we don't, then we are not able to finish the song. Basically.
How do you look as at yourselves as a duo from the time you debuted with your EP The Violet Hour in 2018? How do you look at your journey so far as a duo together?
It's been pretty interesting, I would say. I think it's been I don't know how to put it. I mean, I still feel like not a lot has changed. I don't know. I still don't really.
So, I mean, since the beginning, we would always write the song together. And if we felt like a particular song required a band, then we would, required our band members to perform with us. So then we would just go and show it to them. So I think a lot of people have this misconception that we were first a duo and now our music is, so different because we played with a band and stuff. But it's not actually been like that. We've performed with a band since the beginning. We've always had like songs we felt were like nice in an acoustic setup. So then we would just perform it, just the two of us. But then we've always also had songs which sound great in the band setup. So not much has changed actually in the songwriting process. Not really.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing that probably I can say, or like I think that's changed is like just growth as musicians and also like the understanding of how this whole thing works, or like at least we're beginning to understand. When we put out the EP in the beginning 2018, we didn't know anything. We just did, here's the EP, let's put it online, I don't know what's going to happen. And then since then, there's been a lot of learning of the business aspect of it, or like, whatever, how to, I mean, we're still shit at
learning.
promoting. Yeah, but like just trying to like kind of get like, how do you, like, once the music is out there, what do you do? Our whole thing was like, okay, if you want to play gigs, people ask you, do you have any music? And like, so that's why we record the EP quickly. Not even quickly, it took us a long time even then. And then we were like, this is just basically like a catalog of our music to show people that, hey, we have some music, give us gigs. That was our whole intention in the beginning. And then after putting music out and then seeing like, okay, people are into it and whatever, and whatever this playlisting and all of that, how things work. Those are the things that now we know. So I don't even know if it's a good thing, to be honest. Like, it's more, it adds to your stress.
Really? I like how you're underplaying it. I like how you're underplaying it, and I'll tell you why. Because you put out a shout out, okay, that you require funds to do things. You have a great plans for the duo, and you put out a request. You put out a request for crowdfunding. You put out the certain target that you want to meet, and then you end up actually over meeting it, because that's the outpour of the fan love that comes your way. So even as we are guessing, we as a music loving community are second guessing the credentials of Western sounds in our country. Clearly, there's an audience. I mean, like I said, the outpour of fan love that came your way. It's testament to that. So, do you want to actually tell our viewers about how did this roll about? How did this happen?
Yeah. So the thing is, but towards the end of like, while we were in the production phase and like mixing the last few songs, we all obviously wanted to do some like stuff that we've always wanted to do in the album, because like, you make an album and only once and whatever. So like, getting like Bombay Brass to play like this like amazing horn arrangement, which was arranged by Luca, and all of that requires money. Obviously, you have to pay these musicians and everybody, and it's not a cheap thing. Studio time, and it's just their time that they're spending. So we obviously knew that if we want to get that done, we need to crowdfund. And we've been talking about crowdfunding from a long time, thinking like, okay, maybe we'll have to crowdfund the album, but who's gonna pay? I don't know.
I especially was a little bit more resistant to the idea, more because I was like, who will give us money?
Yeah, we were apprehensive for a long time, but I think by the time this happened, we were more like, we were kind of in a space where we were like, look, there's no other way for us to do it, so might as well try.
Yeah, we needed money to finish the album.
Because we were like, okay, if we're putting 2.5 as a goal, even if we get like say 1.5 or 1.8, we'll be able to manage. We need only this much. Anything more will be a bonus, at least just to make sure that the album gets done. Any other money obviously would go into like say promo stuff or whatever. You can always use money in a productive manner. But when we did it and we saw that it hit, like we hit the target in like 2 days, it was incredible for us also. We didn't expect it.
We definitely didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also like to say though that a lot of the support came from immediate family or like extended family and friends. So obviously, not to burst anybody's bubble, but of course there were listeners and fans who did contribute and were ever grateful. But a lot of the like support came from family and friends who knew us. So
and they are like your first fans also.
They are your first listeners.
Like, they are like, you have to, as in like, why to leave anybody out, right? Like your parents and family members and other people. But it was also like a lot of people that at least in my case, I hadn't spoken to them, but they saw the thing, and it's like, maybe a cousin or like somebody, little distant relatives, and they were all like pitching in, and even like my friends from college and everybody who, all of those people.
Yeah, it was really incredible.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't expect that.
So we were like, okay, great, now we have this money, now we must do something good with it.
Which actually is very, very, it's extremely encouraging, because it's also an investment into something that's beyond their understanding. So, it's,
exactly.
I mean, I think it's incredible to, learn that you guys got this kind of unconditional support. But speaking of music videos, guys, my personal favorite has to be the lyric video that y'all conceptualized and executed for Fragile, which personally is my favorite second side composition. Because aesthetically and just from the visuals itself, it's like that's where I belong. Because first of all, it's the books, the beautiful bookshelves, the beautiful surroundings where it's been shot. It's like that's my space. So for many of us who feel so comfortable and at home with a setting like that, like I'm the kind of a person I would not want to trade being at home with anything else in the world. Like you can call me for the most happening party in town or for the most happening concert tonight, but if I am sitting with in my space with a book, then it's absolutely impossible to budge me away. So I want to ask you guys, because it's such a beautiful concept also. You are talking about how people are very fragile in nature. Uh, there's always a sense of sensitivity in all of us. And at the same time, you're using elements in the music video where there are glass bottles and breakables on which the lyrics of the song are written. So how did you all decide and zero in on that? As much as Pushkar is pointing it towards, he's pointing the baton towards Anusha for it. So Anusha, take it ahead.
Yeah, she did everything. So
I will take the credit for this because he didn't do it.
I just came and
No, actually though, but to be fair though, it's one of my favorite songs, and Pushkar wrote it entirely. And I mentioned this in the gig that I did at Pune recently, which is that when Pushkar wrote it and sent it to me, for about like months, I couldn't listen to it without crying because it just felt so, yeah, just so painful, I guess. I mean, it's a lovely song, but it just speaks about something that's, that can be really hard for a lot of people. So props to you for writing such a beautiful song, and props to me for making such a beautiful music video for it.
The credits are balanced then.
Yeah, no, actually, we basically wanted to make some kind of a video for it, and for this song, I had a very strong vision for it right from the beginning, which doesn't usually happen. But I knew exactly what to do to make it happen, which is borrow a friend's phone, good phone, to shoot the entire thing. So I called a friend who's always been super helpful to borrow her OnePlus to record it, because neither of us have cameras or good phones. Okay. Now we have a camera. Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew that I wanted to just basically use my room. So the room that is there in Fragile is my room, and I love that book corner as well. And I knew that I wanted to write the lyrics on different surfaces in the room and just basically shoot that. And it really worked for this song, because it kind of showed the intimacy of you being in your room, being by yourself, with your own thoughts. So I wanted it to look very small also in many ways.
Yeah.
And of course, having our friends, do the end part is, we always like having our friends be a part of everything that we do. So that was also really nice of everybody to do.
You guys announced your 9-city tour in the middle of 2022, in the summer of 2022. And of course, you have covered the length and breadth of our country. You all have performed in Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Bangalore, and even in Shillong. So what has the reception been at each of these places? And does that instill a sense of confidence unto you that, okay, there are, as much as, like we discussed in the earlier course of the interview, as much as you all are, kind of underplaying it, are you guys more convinced that there is an audience now that's willing to listen and, that's willing to always look forward to the sounds and tunes of Second Side?
Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything, like the tour was important because we haven't done something of that scale, like, going to so many different cities and like, playing to new audiences with the whole band, like, so we did like a small, like a 4-city thing when our EP came out in 2018. And we did like with Living. So it was more like, intimate settings.
And just the two of us.
And yeah, it was just both of us. We just kind of went to like Delhi. We did Delhi, Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, and Bombay, and it was like four gigs in 4 days, and it was in like people's houses, so it was like a small intimate setup. I think which was appropriate for that music.
Right.
But we'd always want to like kind of take the band on top, because like she said also before, there's this misconception where now I don't know, people always kind of seem confused. Are you a duo? Are you a band? What are you?
You're making such different music now.
Yeah. So
Okay.
but so it was like, okay, listen, like we have a band, we go and play all those songs also. Right. So I think it was great. I mean, in the large cities where there is more of a culture, like say you have Delhi or Bombay, Pune, Bangalore, Chennai also, like, but these four at least are, where there's a larger culture of independent music and like larger audience for independent music. Obviously, like people showed up, it was great. We had a great time, but also like going to play in like Guwahati and Shillong and playing at Chennai. That was also a great experience for us. Isn't like, going and like playing to absolutely like where people don't know you. I think for me that's more exciting as well. Like if people don't know you and if you can play a good gig, even if you get like 2 or 3 people who get like, then start listening to your music, that's super cool.
Just 2 or 3 people are enough for you?
As in, I'm just saying, as in any new listener is great. Like anybody who's willing to listen is amazing.
Well, coming to one of my personal favorite questions, because I really believe in the feeling of community. If I may ask the second side, who have been some of the wonderful Indian independent talents that you all have been listening to at leisure, and whose works you really endorse and whose works you really look forward to listening to always?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people in the scene right now who are making such great music. Off the top of my head, my favorites are Meera. Meera's music is always like on repeat on my phone.
I love
Easy
her
One-
keys, man. Her
It's
fiddle
Yeah.
keys,
so pretty.
amazing.
Yeah.
What a pretty song. I love her music. Everybody should check her music out.
Yeah.
Easy Wanderlings is another favorite. We love Easy Wanderlings. And we just, in fact, Shreyas's music is a new find. And we've also recently played with him.
Yeah.
So we really loved his performances with his band. What a banger of a band really they are. And
I love them.
they're so good. Mahesh is another singer that I love listening to. What flawless singing.
Yeah. I mean,
what a
there's
song
obviously,
you
there's obviously we love Ranj.
Ranj, of course.
Yeah.
How did I forget?
And many bands. I mean, so many, like Dileep's is amazing, I think. We went to watch Anubha and Aman Jagwani do their
Just last night.
and it was phenomenal.
night,
I mean, we've been big fans.
Great artists.
And like, we've been fans and kind of friends, and also like, like been talking, whatever. But yeah, it was amazing to watch them live. I watched them live for the first time. I mean, there's so many. I mean, and there's also like there's Takkar Navam, he's doing amazing stuff, and there's Chirag. I mean, Chirag is somebody I've been working with also, Chirag Puri. So yeah, he's got some definitely. There's Gauri Aksha.
Oh yes,
Ah,
I forgot.
Yeah.
They're so good.
So there's just like many.
like if we start throwing names, this interview will go on forever and ever, right?
Yes.
But what next now for the second side? Because you've had a very, very eventful 2022 at the gigs, for sure. Touring cities, releasing music, and you all have also performed some of your unreleased music also at these gigs. So what's next in the pipeline for the duo?
But some new songs that we've done, Shallow Waters, Baby Steps, and not just them, but we have actually a lot of other.
Baby Steps is also my favorite, because I think that that's such a it's very playful and very chirpy as a song, like it's like a nice hit me up kind of a number.
Yeah, and it's different like from the other kind of stuff we write. I think also it's like a little more like happy, upbeat.
But we like that. We like surprising ourselves with different compositions. But we have a bunch of.
We also have like a whole songs. I think album worth of like the acoustic-y stuff, like more that kind of stuff as well, which we'll get to like kind of recording. But also we are also in the process of writing some new material. So I think we've been playing a lot of like you said, with the tour and like the gigs that we've been doing lately. So the frequency, we've been playing the same set also a lot. So we are also kind of like trying to think of like how to make it more interesting for ourselves. Or like, should we like just sit and write for a couple of months and then, you know, start performing again, where we got a new set. So that everybody who's seen us doesn't have to come and watch the same thing again, you know.
Fabulous. I have to say this has been such a comprehensive chat for me this evening. Thank you so much, Anusha and Pushkar. I'm really happy that we finally made this happen. And can't wait to see you guys at your next gig.
Yes, thank you. And also, you mentioned that nothing can take you away from home. So we really should thank you for coming for our gig that night. That means that we are special. So thank you for the compliment.
I have to say, yeah, it might sound, I don't wish to sound pompous by saying that, but you know, I don't wish to be, you know, sound bragful, if that's a word, but really, if anybody manages to, you know, take me out of the house, then yes, yeah, you've got to consider yourself really special.
Thank you so much for coming. It was so lovely to see you.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you for this chat as well. It was so nice to talk.
Yeah, really fun. We really had a lot of fun with all the questions you asked. Very good fun questions.